Hello and welcome to episode 55 of the Special Moves podcast. My name is Mike Williams. These guys are Jake Lukowski and Liam McKelvey.
Hello.
Hey gamers.
Hey gamers. Oh yeah, I forgot that. It's a new catchphrase. Hey gamers.
I've noticed other people online are saying it in a ironic fashion.
Why is it, everyone steals everything off us.
Trendsetters.
And we did it first.
I'm just going to say yes.
Who was the first one who said Death Stranding is going to be shit? Exactly. More on that later.
Controversial.
Yeah, okay. okay.
This is the weekly Special Moves podcast. We talk about some games. We've also got a bonus podcast every week for our patrons where we talk about basically TV and films. A little bit of game stuff in there, but
It was burgers as well.
Yeah.
burgers,
There's
yeah.
some good discussion about burgers in the comments as well on the last one.
Yeah.
The bonus podcast was originally just a general, like, off-topic podcast. It was what it was meant to be, but then it just became the Film Wank podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a patron, lucky you. You get to listen
Yeah.
to that every couple of weeks. But there's a new one available right now, which has just gone out this week if you haven't caught that yet. So you can do that. There's been some good gaming stuff happening this week, isn't there? There's been some
It's been busy.
interesting news. There's been...
Some games.
Yeah, some good game stuff for us to be playing. We've been playing a lot of Battlefield 5 together. We've done a video on that, so that's coming soon. Or yeah, it'll be coming soon. And Neo 2 as well, which you guys have been enjoying.
Yep.
Yep. Which is also a video, which is also coming soon. We just recorded.
Yeah, sort of did the videos first this week.
Because
Why not?
sometimes we say, "Ooh, we'll do a video about Outer Worlds," and then we talk about it in the podcast, and then
Yeah.
we think, "Oh
So
God,
there's
we
a
can't say that in a video."
Tactical reshuffle of our recording schedule.
And now we know what we can promise you as well because we've done it already.
Exactly. Yeah.
Checkmate.
So Battlefield 5, we've been having a lot of fun playing that. We've been playing some squad stuff together, but I've played a bit of multiplayer on my own. I think we've all gone off on our own a little bit to play
Yeah.
as well, haven't we?
I've been playing it for like the week building up. You know
Yeah.
how I do it.
Yeah, the pre-update
Yeah.
warm-up.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's
exactly.
good, isn't it? It's fucking... I can't wait till you guys
Lingering
go so I can play it, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's...
Let's get this out the way first, isn't it? Shout out to everyone listening and watching.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I think it's a strong recommendation from me at the moment as well. If you've at any point been a Battlefield fan in the past and you've not delved into it yet, this is Battlefield 5 at this point is a comfortable recommendation. I think so. It's a
Goes on sale fairly often as
I was
well.
gonna say it's
You can
pretty
get it for
cheap
about-
now. Yeah.
yeah. I think you can. You could get it on the PSN store for like £15 with Battlefield 1 or something.
Yeah.
Like a week ago. I don't know if it's still up there like that.
Probably not now that they've added this and everyone's talking about it.
Yeah, perhaps not. I think there was a free trial as well of this weekend
Yeah,
right
there
now.
is
So
a free weekend. Yeah.
I think player numbers will probably go up a little bit. But yeah, man, it's good. It's in a good place at the moment. There's a ton of games coming out next week, but we're going to talk about that, Death Stranding, all that sort of stuff at the end of the podcast when we do the...
Yeah, we're gonna put some time aside for the Death Stranding.
Yeah,
release.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. It's one of the biggest gaming moments for probably since Red Dead Redemption 2, maybe. That felt pretty big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we've got some cool emails this week. I'm going to jump into one of them right now.
Okay.
This is coming to our Dear Special Moves inbox. If you want to send us an email, it's dearspecialmoves@gmail.com. That's dearspecialmoves@gmail.com. This one is from regular listener Blake Walden, who
Blake?
says... Blake? Yeah, are we saying that now? Are we doing that here? Blake?
Not all the time, but for Blake.
To all of them, just to all the emails. Blake says, "Good day from Radelaide." Is that a real place, or is he put a
Adelaide.
rad
Is it
at
meant
the
to
start
be
of Adelaide?
Adelaide, but Adelaide is rad?
But he's radded it up.
Yeah.
Who knows? We're not geography people. So at this time of the year, there are so many big releases for both indie and major studios. I was just wondering how pressured you guys feel to talk about everything coming out lately, and if you ever find it hard to get around to the things once the release window and hype has died down. Then this is a really interesting point, I think. I've only just picked up God of War, but I have almost no motivation to play it, and I'm instead replaying Skyrim with a bunch of new mods instead. I find that once all of the discourse has died down, I stop wanting to play it, no matter how well reviewed it is. It could just be me, growing up and having way more responsibility, so these days I tend to stick to things that I know and am familiar with to unwind at the end of the day, not having to learn new mechanics or follow a story and just replay old favourites. Hope all's well in Wales, Blake.
Nice one. Help all over in Wales.
Yeah.
That's nice. That like an ambassador.
Good sign. Yeah, exactly. yeah. From Radelaide.
Yeah, the Radelaide, the
ambassador.
Radelaidean embassy in Wales is opening soon. With Blake at the helm.
The bloody Radelaidians. That's like a Final Fantasy race, that's isn't it?
Yeah, you eventually unlock one. There's a party on.
But it's not in Final Fantasy 16. It's just disappointment, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so playing games while it's the new hotness, and then not having the motivation to play it once it's all died down.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely know what you mean, but I sort of consider myself a little bit of a patient gamer. I'm like that with everything really, though, TV and films and stuff. I'm not necessarily I don't need to see it immediately when it comes out or play it immediately when it comes out. But with games, I think it is slightly harder because. Have you guys ever had that? Have you guys ever had something where you're like, well, that's gone now, so what's the point?
Yeah,
playing
a little bit. Earlier this weekend actually. Not everyone knows, the Medieval remake came out last week.
Yeah.
And no one cared about it when it came out.
Yeah.
No.
But at the same time, it came out on the same day as Call of Duty Modern Warfare and The Outer Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
And those two games ended up demanding my attention more than Medieval, because I ended up playing all three of them.
Yeah.
And I went back to try and play Medieval this weekend, and I was just like, the sort of hype, it died down for me a little bit. It's a week later, and I was like, no, you know.
Yeah.
And I was just like, and it's happened to me before where in between, when there's a bit of a draw in between big releases, and I end up just staring at games in my Steam library going, do I want to play that? I'll boot it up for 5 minutes and then go, nah.
Yeah.
But then as soon as a new game comes out, I'm all about it. I put all my time into it.
Yeah.
And I hammer it.
I suppose for us, like you mentioned at the start of the email, it's slightly different because if it's a new thing, at least that's a valuable thing that we can put in the podcast then. And with Battlefield 5, it was just since that update has happened, I haven't played anything else because I know that that's the most recent thing that is readily available to me, and I'm enjoying it, so I might as well just keep playing that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've been playing Super Mario Land on the Nintendo Switch because I've.
But Jake, what's the point? It came out ages ago.
Exactly. We can't put that in a podcast title, can we?
No.
Well, we just made 2 videos about Neo 2 and Battlefield 5 respectively because they came out this week. So it's I was putting my time into that because it's I feel like we can get the conversation going and. I hope it doesn't sound too arrogant, but sometimes when I see a comment in the comment section saying bought this game because you guys said it was good or whatever, it makes me think, oh, that's really cool because some people do actually care about our opinion enough to hear what we've got to say about it or keep an eye out, and then it'll help them either get a game or avoid it. So I feel even if it's for 5 people on the planet, the fact that it's helping some people make a good decision or whatever, I just feel like that's more valuable than me playing Super Mario Land.
Yeah, but I played Return of the Obra Dinn recently, and I mentioned that a couple of times, and I don't think I read anyone saying, "Oh, I'm now going to play Return of the Obra Dinn," but I definitely some people wanted to talk about it and stuff, and even that is pretty good for us because we can play older stuff, and then people will want to have a chat with us about it in the comments and say some, give their own experience of it, or
especially if it's Obra Dinn. If it's God of War, no one gives a shit. No one's gonna have a conversation about God of War in our comments now. Maybe God of War, but not Spider-Man or whatever. But an indie game, it's different in it, especially something with a port, or if there's something that's made it catch the headlines because Obra Dinn got console ported. So I guess. But so I guess that's where we're different than Blake, right? Because we kind of have that where it's we know that there'll be people that will want to listen to our opinions on new stuff, but I don't know. We have older games. I don't know. Personally, I don't. I like with TV shows and stuff. I like to get on straight away and watch things day one. And I do I like the chatter online, and I like to see what people say. Like this Neo 2 beta ongoing at the moment. I got onto that straight away because I wanted to see people go through all the different stages of grief and anger and rage because they can't beat the fucking first boss in the game and then the second boss. But watching that journey happen. But because the Neo subreddit is shared with Neo 1 and Neo 1 has just came out on PlayStation Plus, you can see all these rage posts about Hio Enma, the second boss in the first game, and that's making me laugh. It's because it's that's ages ago now.
Yeah.
But but because everyone's back on it, back in that wave again, it's every year when they do the Bloodborne thing where there's new players, someone's always fighting Father Gascoigne and crying around the world. It's always 5 o'clock somewhere. Someone's always crying about Father Gascoigne somewhere.
That's true. That should be a loading screen on Bloodborne. That should be one of the quotes.
Yeah. So it's the online chatter about things does kind of help. Because it feels like I'll give you a TV example, right? Mr. Robot. It's currently ongoing. It's firing on all cylinders. It's closing soon. There's a couple of episodes left, right?
Yeah.
Me and my wife watch it. We love it. As soon as it's over, we're straight online, see what other people think. She's on Twitter, seeing what people's opinions are.
So being part of the event, nice event
that's
television.
what it is. Yeah. That's what it is. and it's nowhere near as exciting as watching the show, but it's like a nice companion piece.
Yeah.
So and that's so. I don't know. That's what I think.
No, I totally get that. I mean, that's huge for me with sport, like with the rugby. Like, if I'll watch it live, but if I miss the game, I'm not one of the people who'd be like, well, I'll watch the full game 2 days later just to see what happened.
Oh yeah, because that's the whole thing.
Yeah, definitely.
People playing like Firewatch, like that was the big thing with Firewatch, wasn't it? Like there was a big argument online about it because the developers were like, "Fuck PewDiePie," because it's a single player narrative game. You're ruining it by playing it. And it caused that big argument. Remember?
Yeah.
That's been a thing with Let's Plays for a while, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Certainly has, man.
I think with AAA games, it's interesting because you mentioned God of War, but I think there's like, God of War comes out. Fucking play God of War, mate. It's a good game, but
it's great.
It's what I think happens with AAA is that they come out and they're on especially like these Sony ones where they just seem to have limitless resources, and they come out and they're on the absolute bleeding edge of visuals, all sorts of different things. So then God of War comes out and they have this single shot thing, and that's a big talking point. Everyone's talking about the one shot experience, playing through a whole game without any cuts and all this. So maybe the combat is like, it's quite good, it's solid, but the combat isn't anything revolutionary. But there's a couple of moments in the game where the combat becomes a very special sort of gaming, like iconic gaming moment a couple of times in the game. But how valuable is that? Like 12 months later, when no one's mentioning it, no one else is excited about it. So having that shared excitement is like an important part of the AAA one.
Fucking, what's that Star Wars one with the Darth Vader's Luke Skywalker? Which one is that?
Empire Strikes Back.
Imagine watching that now and be like, guys, oh my god, right? When you find that and everyone's like, yeah, that's that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like that bit of God of War that you're on about, everyone's like, yeah. And that's all it is. It makes the big conversation and 55 Reddit posts and a Reset Era thread and an angry Twitter thread calling for someone to be cancelled. Yeah. And that's what it is. Yeah. But God of War's probably not the best example for Blake because it's like such a fucking good game now.
It's a solid game. I strongly recommend that. And the thing is with God of War is once you get into it, once you sort of buy into the characters and the that fucking beautiful voice acting, that gruff as hell, like so fucking good.
Witcher 3 is the one example that's like completely moot point. Like everyone talks about it all the time. Everyone talks about it like it came out last week.
Yeah.
Still, 4 years on. So weird.
There are these games like he's saying he's replaying Skyrim, and it's like you go back to it. Like
I want to know about the new Skyrim. I want to know what mods he's running with. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm like,
seems to have its own. Seems to have its own life.
Some games just have that like stand the test of time quality to them.
Definitely, longevity. That just sort of. Maybe it comes to, like with The Witcher, it's like that sense of openness, and there's so many quests. There's so many there's 2 huge expansions, and. I'm almost always constantly tempted to go back to The Witcher 3, and I kind of do every now and then, but
not on the Switch.
Certainly not on a Switch, mate. So there's it's interesting how some games live on. I think to me though, I think God of War is one of them games as well because when I played it, I was like, well, I've done that now. That's over. I've finished it. But over the last sort of 6 months, maybe I've sort of thought, oh, maybe it'd be worth going back. It's just like you mentioned in the email, there's always new stuff, isn't there? Over the summer, I did go through some back catalogue type things. Battlefield Middle-earth 2 about 17 times. But, generally speaking, there's always a newer, more pressing game. So I guess there is some sort of pressure to, we need to stay on the treadmill and, play the newest thing.
I think we've played more games than most YouTube channels I've seen recently. I've been my job is looking at all this sort of stuff, and then a lot of the YouTubers that I see now just kind of they're either talking about games but not playing them, or playing one specific game. But I think we're quite on it, and I know we don't put videos out half as often as a lot of.
You're not getting the Outer Worlds review on the day it comes out, for example.
For sure, exactly. But we a lot of the big ones we're kind of on it.
Yeah. And many have said that it's the best content on YouTube, certainly. In many cases,
we've changed those titles now because
no one was watching them.
It's a given. It's actually just a given now. It's unspoken.
Yeah, so. to the point where we
conditioned everyone to think that. Yeah. So now we can just move on.
And there's multiple YouTube commenters fucking fighting a good fight for us in the comments, doing it for us, isn't it?
GOP as usual.
Yeah, for sure.
And if you're a listener of the the audio version of this podcast. None of that means anything to
Get on YouTube.
You might be surprised to find out that we've got a YouTube channel where we put out videos. And do you know what? Actually, recently, maybe the past week or so, and this week coming up, we're actually putting out some videos that aren't just podcasts. We got some like actual more in-depth things. So in case you like the sounds of this podcast and you think, oh, I want to hear more about Outer Worlds, maybe not Outer Worlds, that's a bad example because it's a lot of moaning, but like Battlefield 5 and other shit, check us out because it's quite good, you know.
The Outer Worlds is so funny, you know. It's so funny. Like I feel like I've got more complaints than anything else about it, but it's sort of like it's nice. It's like a nice sci-fi-ish type.
Yeah.
Type
not good
thing.
enough for the commenters, though, is it? Do you know what I mean?
No.
We're like, you're being harsh on it. It's like, no, mate.
Yeah, but this is the thing with gaming. Like, there's like everything is categorized and it's got stats, and it's like, you know, you're either pro or against.
Well, we're actually like very positive about everything, considering that we're so moany. That is like the moaniest we've been, and it's funny because none of us didn't like
the Outer Worlds video.
Yeah,
yeah.
Like I say, Liam wasn't. Me and you weren't. It's just we had more to say against it than with it, but it's because the good parts are just and it's just funny because I feel like some of the comments from people that just found our channel, so I'm talking about it's like they don't exist because everyone listening knows, but it's like they must have thought, wow, these guys are so cruel and don't let it's just funny because we don't moan normally about games.
No, and I'm a huge fan of Obsidian, and for me I think it was it was like this sort of like this it was so close. The Outer Worlds is so close.
Wasn't Pillars of Eternity
to being, you know, yeah, exactly. It's so close to being what, you know, a great game. It's so close to being something that I would love, but there's just a few degrees off in a few different ways. And Liam's finished it.
I did finish it, and I'm very warm on it. I really enjoyed my time with it.
Yeah,
I thought it was a good game. Not quite New Vegas level for me, but it was almost there.
Yeah,
and that was mainly because towards the end you could see the budget limitations the team had, and it ended up being quite a bit smaller than I thought it would be.
Yeah,
like there wasn't as many planets as I thought there would be, or areas to go.
It's funny, you know, with the planets, because at the beginning I was sort of feeling like, this is fine, I'm happy with how big they are. Like I feel like you get a couple of little outposts and a big town, and you know, but then you sort of get that everywhere.
Well, the problem is towards the end it starts to feel a bit copy and paste. Like that.
And that's what I've been playing it a bit more, and I'm getting.
You know all the planets on the planet map?
Yeah,
you can't even go to half of them.
No, most of them aren't available to travel to,
and some of them have got multiple destinations, haven't they? Yeah. So they have like
it's like you can. I think is it Terra 2. Later on in the game, you can return there for a side quest, but it takes you to like a different side of the planet.
I'm fine with that because I love Knights of the Old Republic and I replay it quite regularly, and that is what that game is. It's a galaxy map with about 6 planets or something. And then you go to the planet and it's basically just a series of outdoor corridors and a few open areas, and that's basically what Outer Worlds is.
I think there's exactly 6 areas in Outer Worlds as well.
And it's sort of you know, it's sort of really similar to Knights of the Republic in the like level layout, but then it's got like this Fallout sort of, you know, mentality about it. So Outer Worlds is a weird one because I don't think I would not recommend it. I wouldn't say, avoid that one. Definitely not. And
I definitely recommend it.
Yeah.
And actually, like the ending of this game actually had me excited to see what they could do with a bigger budget,
a bit of money,
you know, more dev time.
If you know, because so Microsoft have acquired Obsidian, right?
Yeah.
So hopefully now that if Microsoft are going to try and go toe to toe with Sony on exclusives, they have to basically give them the same kind of money and resources that Sony give. Like, look at the Decima. Okay, this is going on Death Stranding now, which we're going to talk about later, but only briefly. The Decima engine developed for Horizon Zero Dawn is fucking sensational. And you look at Death Stranding, like some of the gameplay footage, it looks like incredible. But you can only really do that if you've got a giant ass publisher behind you pumping money into your company. So that's, you know,
you need another 30 engineers, no problem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So hopefully Microsoft will, you know, try and do something like that with people like Obsidian.
I'd love to see because I like the world Obsidian have built with the Outer Worlds. I like the lore they've set up.
It is quite nice,
like the characters they've put in place. And I would look forward to seeing what they could do for bigger scope, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, the talk online about this game is just so positive.
It is, isn't it?
You know, so like, surely the people who make those monetary decisions have got to base a sequel on like that. First of all, like the sentiment online, and then second of all, like how open is that law to be changed and easily adapted to something that'll be fun and not too much of a stretch. So like all the boring business decisions point to it happening, and that's what runs the world.
No, absolutely.
You know, so I reckon Outlaws 2 could happen, and it'll be a PC and Xbox exclusive, and it'll be like banging because everyone likes the first one, and this one will have like triple the budget. So,
hopefully that will happen. Don't know how we got onto that, but thanks, Blake, for the email.
20 minutes in.
So let's talk about some of the big gaming news that happened this week then, because there's a lot of stuff coming out of BlizzCon, which was
still
some proper gaming announcement stuff. So we're recording this on a Sunday, so maybe we'll miss a couple of things. But
I think like they've done their big talk.
I would imagine.
That was just a bit of
they revealed all the big stuff in their like opening keynote type thing.
So there's some pretty exciting stuff. I feel like people sort of forget Blizzard. I mean, I certainly do. Like as a when you're thinking of the big gaming or the great gaming companies. For some reason, Blizzard just doesn't spring to the front of
no one's forgetting them at the minute, are they?
Exactly. A hard trouble not talking about it.
Exactly.
I know I hold them there. I'll give them their due because, like.
But if you went through a
Diablo
list
2
6 months ago of just name me some great big gaming companies.
I think it's because their output is so limited.
It is
They're
that,
a bit
isn't
like
it?
Valve.
It is that.
Every time they put out a game.
Valve, exactly. Another company I keep forgetting about.
But Valve actually haven't done anything.
What was the last new game they put out? Counter-Strike Global Offensive, maybe?
What that shit
Artifact,
Yeah.
Oh no, they did auto chess as well. So they've got their own version of that.
Well, they stole the mod. That's what they did to that.
Well, that's Valve's MO, really.
Exactly. So listen to this conversation about what Valve have been up to. It's not
Valve did Dota, didn't they? A stolen mod that was a World of Warcraft 3. Fuck off.
Portal was originally a student game that Valve picked up and gave.
Do you know what? The more I think about Valve, the more I don't like them.
Left 4 Dead was originally made by Turtle Rock, who Valve just bought the IP off them.
I know. True. It's all true.
Blizzard and Valve don't really put out games that often.
But then Blizzard just has high quality, low concentration output, a bit like Rockstar or something like that. Maybe you'd say.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of comparison for I can't remember where it was. I saw some thread where people were comparing, and they used Rockstar as an example, like last gen output to this gen output. And if you don't count remasters and ports, the only game Rockstar put out this gen was Red Dead 2. Whereas before they put out GTA 4, GTA 5, Red Dead Redemption, whatever other spin-off, Bully,
some ping pong, table tennis shit.
Like Midnight Club, whatever else.
Yeah. And games just take longer to make these days, I guess.
That's the matter of it.
Blizzard is interesting because they're probably the best example of games as a service. And have been for ages.
Yeah.
Every single game that they do.
Diablo 3 was one of the ones that I feel like that helped make a big stride into something that shouldn't necessarily be a service.
Everyone remembers Era 37, don't they?
Yeah, big meme.
And what was the fucking marketplace thing in that game?
Well, that got taken out completely.
Exactly, but that was a huge launch.
That was why
controversy.
So again, Blizzard, one of the best examples against this. I know they did, World of Warcraft, of course. StarCraft 2 isn't really a service. Hearthstone, and then Overwatch, which is like poof. So, all that being said, we just mentioned a couple of games. Blizzard have announced some big new things.
Yeah,
they all related to one of those games, aren't they? In a way, apart from Hearthstone, because we're not talking about Hearthstone at the moment.
Hearthstone did get some announcements, but it's just the usual new events, expansions.
Oh, okay, so because WoW did as well. Let's get that out of the way first.
WoW got a new expansion.
It had a big cinematic.
What's this now? World of Warcraft.
World of Warcraft. Shadowlands.
Big, massive cinematic that looks really good. It's a big expansion.
So far, so Blizzard, big, massive cinematics.
And that's it. WoW fans are talking about it. The WoW fans that now have no care in the world for WoW, but then whenever there's a new expansion, they go, "Oh, that looks good."
Do you know what?
Wait for like a month, and then that's it.
A couple of guys in work are getting back into it, and they were saying this last week before this, and they're not the type of people to be keeping an eye on what's happening at BlizzCon. They're just casual MMO players, but WoW is
the
phenomenon.
thought did cross my mind. Should I try WoW again? But I thought, no. Those are some hours I'd like to keep.
My brother-in-law Dan, I've known him since Burning Crusade. Every single expansion, it's the same inevitable thing.
I love that MMO references there. I've known my brother Dan since the Burning Crusade.
Check my phone. Have I got a message from Dan? Don't even have to read it. I know it's going to be about Shadowlands or whatever. Anyway, every time it's the same thing. But that was one of the that was one of the 3 big announcements.
Yeah.
But the other 2 announcements are the most interesting, right? So I don't know.
For us, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you want to start?
Yeah.
Well, Diablo 4, I think, is one I'm probably most excited for. They had a nice big gameplay reveal sort of trailer thing for this. Some lovely voiceover from, I keep forgetting his name.
Ralph Ineson.
Yeah.
Oh, the guy who plays the dad in The Witch.
The dad in The Witch.
He's also
and the
voice
jerk in The Office.
every advert
on
ever.
Dave.
And Dave,
Yeah, he's
the voice of the
You've
North.
seen a Dacia advert.
Yeah.
He's the narrator.
I imagine
Dacia.
you know, in like Game of Thrones, the trees with the old faces. If they had a voice, it'd be his voice.
Yeah, he's got a great voice.
He's the voice
He's
of
a
the
good
North.
actor.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I saw The Witch that I really sort of thought, oh, he's actually I like him a lot. But
So he did a voiceover, did he?
He did a voiceover, or if not, it's someone doing an amazing impression of him.
It's got to be him, hasn't it?
Yeah, it is him, basically. That's what I'm saying.
Right, yeah.
It's unmistakable, that voice.
So
but
I
he-
watched it with the sound off because I had a baby next to me in it.
Right.
So I've got all the visuals, but got none of the
Oh,
sound.
he's. Do you know what? He's a really good sort of high fantasy, dark fantasy voice. I think. Like he's found a great niche for himself there.
Right, yeah.
He's had like bit parts in every fantasy franchise ever.
So
He's got to be in that Lord of the Rings TV show. Otherwise, I'm gonna flip.
yeah.
He needs to be in it.
So how
Anyway,
was the game? How was the game?
the game looks fine. No, the game looks. I played a lot of Diablo 3, but I got a weird sort of history with it. I guess I played a bit of it at launch, and I was like, ugh. There was so many things annoying me about it. I just sort of stopped playing it. Came back to it again on PC a little bit later. Sort of enjoyed it. Played it on the Switch more recently on that port. Fucking loved it. It's such a good Switch game. So easy to pick up and play. To do basically mindlessly do nothing for about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That's what Diablo 3 is. I just like it. I love the setting. I like the lore. I think it's a really good sort of fantasy universe. And then this new gameplay just looks like a great evolution of what 3 is, basically.
It's a bit of an evolution, bit of a history lesson at the same time.
That's
because they made a big deal saying we're going back to the Diablo 2 style of grimdark, corpses littering the streets. All this like grim shite.
Yeah, they were saying like Dark Souls is an inspiration. They don't they want it to be like dark.
You can see that. Yeah.
They don't want it to have much humor. That it's going to be slower paced. Even though the trailer's pretty high octane, I guess. But they want it to have like a lot more power. And do you know one thing I've never really heard anyone say before about game design, which I really like the idea of? And as somebody who watched the trailer with no sound on because they've got a baby, probably not going to be that much to me. But they said that they're really working on it, especially the sound design. They want it to work so much that they want people to be able to have their eyes closed and know exactly what's happening on the screen. Like if you smash a barrel, or if you cut a goat man in half, or if you crush that goat man instead, you could play it with your eyes closed and you'd be able to know exactly what's happening. They want to put that much detail and that much power into every action that you take, because that's all the game is. Well, it's hacking and slashing.
I like that sort of thinking, and when you play, for example, as I think it's the Barbarian class or whatever in Diablo 3, one of the abilities is like a dive,
elite forward,
and that's what you're looking at there is a very small character moving quickly into a crowd of other very small characters, and it shouldn't really have any weight to it. But then you add a bit of screen shake and the sound design and some nice like fireworks coming out of the ability, and suddenly like what could easily be quite a lame ability feels really good to do every single time you do it, and the game has to feel like it's like Destiny. It has to feel good to play.
Well, funny you should say Destiny.
Speaking of,
that seems like the big inspiration.
Yeah.
So where were we getting this information from? In case you didn't know, because you might have seen the trailer and then you're like, "What's this?" Like some press have got to play it, so there's impressions online. So like I think this is from Kotaku's impressions where I got this, but basically like Destiny is the big inspiration for it.
Kotaku's still a thing.
Kotaku's still a thing, yeah. Deadspin got, but Kotaku, they're on a union and like they are fighting their sort of private equity investor overlords at the moment, and
making jokes
about it.
Taking it in a stride.
They even say in the Diablo trailer video, they're like, "Oh, there's a couple of characters fighting demons, or it might be private equity investors," But anyway, what they have been doing is a lot more serious games. Right enough, noticed this weekend. So they've been doing this anyway. It's just straight up impressions, and their impressions of Diablo were that it is very Destiny-like in the sense that they're big open areas rather than a lot of instances that the areas feel very, very open. Other players just spawn in with no hurrah, no so-and-so's invading or whatever. Other players can spawn in and help you out, and there's world bosses like in Destiny and other games as well, of course, but like MMOs, I guess. and there's a lot more of this kind of don't make a big deal out of it style multiplayer. So you can go
Which
alone.
is the best kind of multiplayer, I feel.
It is, yeah. You can play it alone. Apparently, you can't play it offline. The whole thing is online only.
Yep.
I don't know how that's going to work if you get a power cut and you want to play on your Switch. But fuck you for wanting a world.
Well, I imagine it will probably be PC, PS4, Xbox at first. Yeah, maybe a Switch port later down the line. Because interesting, the Diablo 3 console versions don't require online. PC version still does. You have to be online to play Diablo 3.
Yeah.
But not on the console versions of it.
I think they are a bit more forgiving, aren't they, when it comes to what is probably going to be a more casual audience, generally speaking.
And I think if you're going to buy a physical box copy of the game, there's some sort of expectation there, I suppose. Yeah. Whereas I don't know if you can even get it physical on PC anymore, which is a whole different conversation.
Well, there used to be a staple of Blizzard, didn't it? Getting that physical copy. They put a lot of effort into their physicals.
Do you want some Velcro on your fucking game box?
I have got Diablo physical 3. Copies of Diablo 3 and Reaper of Souls expansion.
Yeah. Me too. I don't know why.
Was that little same actually?
Because they were cheaper on Amazon.
I think it's the last physical game I ever got on PC.
Same
was
actually.
Diablo 3, and that was about 8 years ago. It's
what tangent that was.
Yeah. So this online only mode seems to be a sticking point with people, and the PvP is another sticking point, but it's opt-in apparently. So you're not going to get ganked by like high-level people with a purple cloak.
Yeah, they really added mounts as well to it. I'm pretty sure I saw that in the gameplay.
That looked ace. I thought. I
was it 3 classes so far? There was the barbarian, obviously a staple of Diablo. Yeah, the druid, and was it a witch or a sorcerer?
Some sort of wizard bitch. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you could sling spells and that, couldn't you? The other one you could
turn into a bear. Jesse Pinkman.
Yeah. Sorry lads, El Camino just came out, right?
I wonder what, because they're going to have more classes, obviously. I wonder what else they're going to bring back. Necromancer?
Witch Doctor, whatever, yeah.
It's a little 10-minute feature out on Netflix, by the way, about the making of El Camino. It's quite nice.
I've seen it.
Quite nice.
Yeah.
I hope they bring back the Demon Hunter. People hate that class in Diablo 3, but I really like it.
Which one was that? Is that a crossbow?
Crossbow, but they fire so fast. They're basically assault rifle crossbows.
Yeah. It's the suppressive fire from medieval times.
On discussion I've seen, people do not like that class at all.
Yeah.
But I played it, I mained it in Diablo on PC.
Nice.
I really like it.
So Diablo 4, probably going to get me back in. I really didn't like Diablo 3 that much. I played it when it came out, I finished it, and that was it. And then it was like, you start it again, and all my friends were like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
you do it with a slight increase of difficulty.
I didn't get it. I wasn't not into this new Game Plus bollocks.
I'm the same. I'm exactly the same.
You do it, you get better loot to get through. You start again, you get even better loot. That's just the core Diablo loop.
That's you know where you see these comments from like 13-year-olds on the internet and they're like, well, the campaign is only the beginning. Fuck off, mate. The campaign's about 60 hours. That's the full fucking game, as far as I'm concerned.
Exactly. Well, that's it. Yeah, the game starts at end game and all.
Yeah, don't tell me how to play my game. Again.
So what you want about me fucking?
It's it's common with MMOs that everyone's like, oh, well, you've not experienced the game until you've got to this end game raid.
If end game is truly not the same shit that I've just done, but with different colour enemies, fair enough. But don't give me the same game again, but the skeletons are red, and then be like, now the game really starts. Fuck off.
In Destiny, it's sort of that, isn't it? It's sort of like you play through the campaign, and it is what it is. It's a bit of a Marvel movie in Destiny 2.
Diablo 3, they started adding seasonal events and stuff to it. To give you more to do rather than just endlessly grind out loot.
Again.
But for that, you have to have withstood the game for months. Before you even get that.
True.
Withstood.
It's
true though.
So it's like, do you know what? Yeah. So I said this before. My wife's not much of a gamer, right? But we went on holiday to Greece with Dan, who was on about the WoW guy earlier, right? And
Burning Crusade, right? Yeah, fucking. That's where forged in steel. That
sounds like your mate of the Burning Crusade.
Blood brothers, yeah. So and he brought his Switch. And being the crackle for Blizzard that he is, he had Diablo 3.
Yeah.
And I remember watching it over because he was in front of us on the plane. It's like, what is this? And I was like, I know what it is, and it's just numbers on the screen.
Yeah.
But the numbers are so exaggerated
Silly,
on these games.
Yeah.
Like he's doing 14 million damage a second.
Yeah.
And he's trying to.
But he's a warrior forged in flame from the Burning Crusade, mate.
17 million, and it's just it's not for me. But at the same time, I'm going to try Diablo 4.
I'm going to play, but this is the thing. I'm going to play it, and I'll play it for the campaign, and I'll play through the campaign with you guys or whatever, and then that. that'll be me.
I'll be the same, you know. That's exactly what I did with Diablo 3.
Yeah.
Played through the campaign, played through the expansion. I tried a bit of the Crusader as like a new run.
Yeah.
Didn't hold my attention long enough, and then
well, that's interesting that you said that, because that's what I did, and I feel like I finished it. But everyone was like, "You said it's just the beginning."
No, I felt complete after I finished the campaign.
So I feel like I don't have a fucking right to talk about it because I only did it like twice through. Yeah. And I think when you did it the second time, there was like a different boss at the end or something. But after that, boom, that's it. So it looks like it could be good. It's going to be the first next gen ARPG probs. So yeah, it was certainly the first next gen Diablo. So I'll give it a go. And the graphics look good, by the way.
Yeah, I'll tell you the one thing that I was really underwhelmed by with Diablo 3. It's such a small thing, but it's the character models look such shit on the character select screen. I think they were so like low on Diablo 3 when it launched.
Diablo 3's problem was it was a bit too colourful.
It was,
It was like pastel colours everywhere, and like.
But the model itself was so like low poly, I guess is the only way I can put it. Where it was just like, this does not look like a very detailed character at all.
I suppose you don't really care when you're viewing it from like 10 feet.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's such a small thing, but when I booted up, I was so excited, and then like that's the first thing that you see is like, which character do you want? And I was like,
every time you boot up the game as well.
Your
hero is
it's the menu, isn't it?
Yeah.
So anyway, sort that out.
One boss.
Exactly. That's exactly how it felt. There was also, we haven't really mentioned Overwatch.
Yeah.
Bit of a weird one, this, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess none of us are big Overwatch players, are we?
I like it, but I'm not massive into it.
Yeah.
I played it a bit, but.
And I play the demo, and then there's a lot of like.
The beta,
there's a bit of the demo, and it was like, just I don't know, not for me.
I played it in May quite a bit, and it was quite good. I played as Moira. I don't know how new she is. I think she's pretty new. And
is that one off Love Islander?
That's it. Yeah. I mean, she bores everybody to death. No, but this is like I think she was some sort of like witch, had 2 orbs or whatever, and that's who I played as. But Overwatch 2 has been announced. Big, juicy. It sounds like impressive. You don't have to know anything about Overwatch to know it's big, and to know Overwatch 2's coming sounds big. But then when you look into it, it gets a bit muddy and confusing. Mm-hmm. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Overwatch 2 is coming out. We don't know when Overwatch 2 is coming out. No. If you don't have Overwatch 2, that's okay, because all the content from Overwatch 2, apart from the story mode, is going to be in Overwatch 1. Mm-hmm. All the new characters you can play in Overwatch 1. If there's any one of your friends that are playing Overwatch 2, don't worry, because you can play with the people who are playing Overwatch 2
the multiplayer
in Overwatch 1.
Effectively remains the same with a new game mode put in.
So it sounds like it's just a paid story mode, really.
But I think it's an interesting effort with this games as a service stuff. Like we were talking last week about Ubisoft, where they've basically acknowledged that people aren't interested in sequels to live service games, like because the Division 2 and Ghost Recon Breakpoint haven't sold very well.
That could have just been a tasty Battlefield 5. Rise of the Pacific, style update for the Division 1.
Yeah, but instead of that, they asked people to buy a new game, and as a result, sales have been dreadful.
Yeah.
Compared to Rainbow Six Siege, like all these other examples where people, games have just been updated and supported, and they've done really well. So this sounds like some sort of halfway point almost, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like between the two.
It's a bit weird. Like no one's sure whether it's a paid separate game or it's a paid DLC expansion type deal.
It's sort of
it's not quite clear.
It's sort of what I would expect with the next Grand Theft Auto game, because they've always said GTA Online is a separate thing. Mm-hmm. So I feel like you're going to buy the game and it'll give you access to the same GTA Online experience, the same account, the same character, the same everything you've put your money into. Right. You're going to have all that, but you're just getting a new single player or a new city or a new story or
unless they do it like how they did StarCraft, where you had StarCraft 2 but then the expansions were basically new games in themselves.
The factions, weren't they? The campaigns and that. So
it
could be. It's interesting. Let's see how it works.
It's confusing, but it's quite groundbreaking.
Yeah, I guess no, it's true. And I think when it's out or when people are actually putting their money down on it, it'll probably be a lot clearer what you're.
Because Overwatch. Yeah. Was it the first hero shooter? It was certainly the first big one.
Well, I suppose Team Fortress 2 maybe? That had hero-y type characters.
Yeah, class-based, I guess.
Overwatch definitely started the whole
MOBA mixed with an
exactly.
FPS.
I think I definitely know what Leo means with it, because Team Fortress definitely made characters out of the classes, like the surgeon.
Yeah, they weren't just roles. They were like the spies.
They had a personality.
They had a trailer, and they had like
I know what you mean.
That's interesting.
Like, the long and short of it is, Overwatch 2 is you get new PvE missions. Look a bit Vermintide-y.
Yeah.
Where you go through them and fight hordes of robots, I believe.
Yeah.
I'm not up to date on my Overwatch
lore.
lore.
They're like these giant, like nullsec or something.
And there's some new heroes. One coming at launch, one after, I think.
Yeah.
And
it's teams of 4, not 6.
Teams of 4, in the co-op.
For the PvE mode, and then the story missions.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's that or something separate. There's a new PvP mode as well with this giant robot. Yeah, who's just doing what he's told, pushing it one way or pushing it the other way.
I saw a lot of people making jokes about that, because famously in Overwatch, no one ever pushes the objective, so they made the robot that'll push it itself.
Is that what it is? Right.
I'm assuming it's some sort of in-joke. I've not played much Overwatch. I'm just assuming that. But I'm kind of interested in it, because I do like Overwatch. I was a bit of a latecomer to it. I know exactly when I started playing it properly. It was when they added Hammond the hamster.
Yeah.
That's when
that's the reason that you played it, right? So that's
and it was on sale, and I was like, I want to play as a giant hamster and a mech.
I thought Overwatch coming to Switch would be the jumping in point for me, but now I think Overwatch 2...
It's not done well on the Switch.
I noticed,
No, it's not selling well.
It didn't happen
not a lot of players.
The best time for Blizzard, I suppose. But
you think about the competition, they've got in the exact same space on the Switch, where you got Fortnite for free, and you've
Paladins
got
as well,
Paladins,
which is basically Overwatch
for free, and you've got Warframe for free. Yeah. So it's sort of it's coming in there asking for money for something that
quid,
where people are, I
probably
imagine
should have been a bit cheaper if they wanted people to pick it up.
So that's it's got some
and you
stiff
need
competition.
Nintendo Switch Online to play it.
So let's read out an email before we move on to the new releases, because like we said, there's quite a lot of new releases to talk about this week.
Okay.
But I'll do one more email. So this one is from Tabitha, who's a music therapist from Texas. How's it going, Tabitha?
Cool. Music therapist sounds like a dope fucking job as well.
Yeah, cool. Hey y'all. Very Texan. I like it.
Yeah.
I was recently forced to start Skyrim. Okay, I don't want to ask under what conditions that was.
There's a lot of guns in Texas.
I was recently forced to start Skyrim. I never thought I'd like it, but I've been playing almost non-stop for a month now. It's all-consuming. However, as someone coming from Breath of the Wild, the big Zelda Switch game, I'm finding the world of Skyrim a bit harder to navigate. For starters, I really miss having all the roads illustrated on my map. Getting lost in Hyrule didn't feel disheartening because the world never let me stay that way. It's not because of the towers either. The roads were plentiful, well marked with signposts, and filled with helpful travellers. Not to mention the Sheikah Slate was always able to guide me towards a new fast travel point. The signposts in Skyrim are inconsistent, and I can't ask the passing mercenaries what lies ahead. In Hyrule, I felt confident going off-road, but in Skyrim, I can't just climb anything that gets in my way. And if I follow a river that ends in a waterfall, I can't just paraglide down and keep going. I'm sure these gripes will be less relevant as I put more hours into the game, but right now, Skyrim feels more daunting than Hyrule ever did. I hope you find this interesting. Thanks, Tabitha. Yeah, that is interesting.
That is interesting.
Tabitha, great email.
Yeah, because it's interesting because she's playing it like you would really explore the world.
Yeah.
Realistically, you can just open your fucking map and look. But that's no fun. If you can look at road signs and you can use the lay of the land to navigate, that's dope. Because that's like, do you know what I mean? That's like the type of role player that takes their character's glasses off before they go to bed, innit?
Yeah.
And sleeps in their house, which is really cool and a nice way of looking at it. And Breath of the Wild has spoiled people like that.
Yeah.
Because that is really well thought out.
I think that's, for me, got to be a lot of the reason why Breath of the Wild was getting like 9s and 10s and best game ever sort of status, because it was taking the open world design, and like games like Skyrim and stuff just follow the same basic principles of put a marker on a map, put a compass on a screen, put an arrow on the top of the screen, and just direct them exactly where they're supposed to be going. Peter Molyneux tried to change it into a golden dust trail, but it was essentially the same fucking thing.
Yeah, it was like a sat-nav.
Yeah.
Dead Space had the line.
Dead Space had a line, all this sort of stuff.
Breath of the Wild used your eyes.
Yeah, and like as she says,
I think the world traversal in Breath of the Wild is like, unparalleled,
Absolutely, yeah.
Maybe Death Stranding might be able to get a similar thing.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah, I've read some comparisons.
Like, at the time, Death Stranding's still not out to the public. I still think Breath of the Wild is like king of traversing open worlds, like because you can do anything.
As she says, you can't even climb. Like you can't even climb over objects in Skyrim because that's such a key feature in Zelda. Your horse and glitch up,
Yeah,
exactly.
It's funny because I didn't really get on with Breath of the Wild when I played.
No, neither did I.
But I've been like replacing radio or music. Like in the morning, I watch Twitch streamers while I'm doing my work. And one of them that I'm watching is doing Breath of the Wild, and I'm seeing like some stuff quite far into the game, like the desert towns and shit. And I'm like, whoa! And there's like coastal, like the world is mad on that game, and how you're traveling around, like that little sandfish and all that. Man, it's fucking dope. And Skyrim is old, it's 6 years. But so I'm guessing from the email because of the Breath of the Wild connection. Tabitha's playing it on Switch, because if you're not and you're playing it on PC, mod that shit. I bet you there's a mod that you can get better road signs. That's the sort of thing modders love, isn't it? To get proper road signs, or to get like somebody, to get dialogue options that can direct you to the next town.
And you can get some like amateur like programmer who's done some voiceover work for the mod, and it's going to be like, "Hey, traveler,
go east,
go head west." It's gonna be like that, isn't it?
You can make it more of a role playing experience.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a modder who loves a good bit of D&D, and they're gonna mod that into Skyrim.
There's got. I think there's a Switch version got like what are they called? The mods, the paid mods. What are they called?
Creation Club.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
I can't remember.
I hesitate to.
Yeah, I don't think so. I'm playing a Switch version now, which Mike has kind of lent to me, and I
forgot I owned.
I don't remember that I am.
You can on console, on PS4 and Xbox One, not the original Xbox PS3 versions.
But I think that was the big like pioneering thing in the game for me, and just how you take like it's just such a Nintendo thing to do, and take like something that's been done to absolute death, like open world games, open world design has been done so many times, and they've all got the same markers, like a mini map. A marker on a minimap, a line on the minimap, an arrow on the top of the screen, a marker on a compass on the top of the screen. Yeah, and really, these rules haven't changed. But then,
I will say,
Breath of the Wild makes NPCs tell you what's down the road, and that's such a huge thing.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Origins tried it to, I think, decent success.
I can't remember what that was. What was it?
You can turn off all the guides, can't you?
Oh yeah, in Odyssey, I think that was.
And when you do that, it unlocks something like dialogue options happen when you've turned it off,
and you have to send your eagle out to like scout ahead.
Inspired by Breath of the Wild, 100%, and
I think that did it quite well.
I think Odyssey was probably a good one for that. But yeah, I can totally get that, how you'd come into Skyrim now, and it's definitely showing its age at this point, isn't it? But
so next week, it's 8 years old.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Which is weird,
I've played it on 3 different platforms. I've probably spent more time modding it than I've played it. I've probably played about 200 hours of Skyrim.
It holds up, I reckon. It's
good. It's good.
It's like, if you've never played it before as well, because it's not like Tabitha's revisiting it.
Yeah.
She, again, forced to play it.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Who knows what the circumstances are.
I'm assuming forced by the hype.
I'm imagining Jesse Pinkman at the end of Breaking Bad just sort of play this game, kicking a switch down into the fucking subterranean cell. Yeah.
I started Skyrim but still haven't finished it.
Yeah, Liam famously one of the only like 50 people on the planet who can say no to Skyrim. Which is a good.
I love the ending of Skyrim. I love the way it ramps up. I love the fucking the way the dragons stuff. Oh, it's good. It's good. Like
it's good. I don't want to say it because the whole email that we just wrote. You might.
What?
But cut it short.
No. There's dragons at the end of Skyrim.
Well, the dragons are in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah,
so.
But there's a load of cool stuff happens.
It gets really set piecey.
Yeah, it's nice. It's really nice, and it does some of these things that we've been talking a lot about Outer Worlds, where you got to make a big decision about putting electricity in one town or the next. There's like the high fantasy equivalent of that in there a couple of times.
Imagine if it was just actually electricity.
Yeah, we've discovered
it turns into Fallout.
And
actually just got to divert the water somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly. And there's about 4 voice actors that voice every NPC in the game, and everyone's either Scottish or like some sort of bad Scandinavian hybrid thing. But I love it. I love like all the the way everyone talks in the game. It's a good high fantasy experience, Skyrim, but it's definitely I think it's one of them things where the game design has moved on a little bit because of Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
That's probably making it feel a bit dated.
The real interesting thing will be, because Breath of the Wild was like game changer, right? Will the new Elder Scrolls be inspired by Breath of the Wild?
But then again, we've got Breath of the Wild 2 also on the way.
Yeah, that would just be Breath of the Wild 1.5, though, wouldn't it?
It'll be interesting to see who comes out on top, because December there's going to be people Game of the Decade lists. Skyrim just about in there, 2011.
Skyrim is this decade.
Red Dead Redemption 1 is in there, isn't it? So
was that 2010?
10.
Yeah, so that'll be in there. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see Skyrim or Breath of the Wild who reigns supreme.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be Breath of the Wild.
Bloodborne.
We're only a month away as well,
Yeah.
so yeah, we'll find out. That'd be a good one to revisit. I reckon. But that was a really good email.
That was excellent. Thank you very much, everyone who sent us an email last week. Sorry you couldn't read out anymore, but we need to talk about Death Stranding for the next 30 minutes.
Well, surely there's some other games out this week.
Yeah.
Are they Death Stranding though?
Yeah, none of them are made by Hideo Kojima though, mate. That's
okay.
So, just the last reminder, if you want to send us an email, it's dearspecialmoves@gmail.com, and we'll have a little chat about whatever it is you got to say. All right, let's do new releases for the coming week. What's the date today, boys? It's about 4th, 3rd, something like that.
3rd?
Yeah, so
trying
3rd.
to look at the
You're
laptop.
right. I'm
My
pretty
eyes
sure
won't focus.
it's the 3rd, yeah.
Okay.
So, it's a busy week. It's a busy week, right? I'm going to start strong with Red Dead Redemption 2 on the PC. That's coming out on November the 5th.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. Okay.
I was tempted by this.
Yeah.
Sadly, it comes out in the same week Death Stranding does. So
yeah, and you can only be bored to death by one game at a time, apparently.
I like Red Dead 2. I'm a staunch defender of Red Dead 2.
Yeah. No, I like it.
All the bullshit realism and all.
Yeah.
I like it.
I think I can't even remember what I thought about the game, to be honest. I think it was more the story that let me down.
Honestly,
yeah.
By the ending, I was like,
you guys both finished it.
I finished it, yeah.
Yeah, I loved the ending.
I got to I didn't even get to halfway, did I? I got to just past. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And is that about halfway?
I think so.
Emotionally, yes, it's halfway.
Because I noped out because it's just going on. And
it is a long
I was working
game.
a job that was like in a cinema, so I was like working nights, I was working weird shifts.
Yeah.
Now that I've got more stability in my life and like more opportunity to play games, maybe I should. And that we've got that like the upwind of it coming out on PC, so I can be like talking about it. The in conversation will begin anew. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe I should go back to it.
I think I'm the opposite. Like having that steady job and doing full-time hours in a week, and it's just then when you come home and you play it and you do nothing apart from ride a horse, have a conversation, and fucking I don't know, make camp or something.
It demands a lot of you.
It does,
Dead 2.
yeah.
And I understand exactly why people dropped off it.
But I stuck it through to the end, and there's loads of good stuff in it. For me, the beginning is the best bit in it because it just ticks a lot of fucking basic mic boxes. Basically,
the beginning was great. The middle did sag a bit,
cold,
but then the ending picked it back up for me.
The beginning, I loved like this siege mentality, and the whole game is built around like looking after the camp and supporting the gang and supporting the camp, and I loved that at the beginning where people are sheltered in this. It's almost post-apocalyptic, like a little bit, where they're all stuck in cabins and they haven't got anything to eat and everything.
You're out on the frontier.
Yeah, properly out on the frontier, and you've got to go out and find things and scavenge. I loved that.
Do jobs.
Yeah.
But then when it got a little bit comfortable, like for a long time, like everyone was sort of fine, and there was a lot of like personal disputes and stuff happening. I didn't care about a lot of it.
And there's a lot of like, we need to make a new camp. Shut fuck up, Dutch.
Yeah.
But the bit where you like storm that mansion, with going down the road and the music's like,
yeah,
that was great.
Oh man, that was one of the best moments in any game, right? Is like the high was like, because it was dead cinematic. But
did you not like the train? I like the train robbery a lot.
It was cool, but
I like when they're all sat on horses overlooking the train tracks.
Yeah, no, that was a good bit, but it was like I know that they had to start with a bang. This was like halfway through some boring mission. It started off like Romeo and Juliet.
That was
and then it ends in
dire, but it was worth it for that.
Yeah, and then you're walking. Oh man. Anyway, so PC gamers, you've got all that to look forward to. You've got
as long as you've got 150 gig off your hard drive.
150 gig on your hard drive, 150 hours of spare time, and you're ready for the soaring highs and the absolute lows.
I'm not sure how well it's going to do on PC. It's going to do really well, but I mean,
think it'll do well.
But it's definitely, it seems like a slog when you're in a TV environment. When you're on a sofa, you've got a controller in your hand, your feet are up on a coffee table, and you're playing on a big screen. How's it going to handle when you're upright in what I like to call Dishonored mode? You're lurched over a mouse and keyboard, and you're looking at, you're about 6 inches away
from the game Dishonored, by the way.
You're 6 inches away from your TV, your monitor, and you're like you're just switched on.
This is the same platform where people play MMOs for 24 hours at a time.
Yeah, but imagine
the people sit on their Euro Truck Simulator all
day.
That's true. The place people's time goes to die, isn't it?
That's true. That's true. But imagine them horse riding sections, right?
They'll love it.
They will.
Do you think?
Love it. Yeah.
Okay. I like the argument.
They're going to tap out and open up.
They can have
Discord,
Twitch on the second monitor.
That's what's going to happen. The podcast listening numbers are going to go through the fucking roof.
Yeah.
Because people are going to be like,
I've always thought that
holds down W.
Sounds great on horseback. So please, PC gamers this week, let us know if we're with a soundtrack to your thing. And,
equine activities.
Is that an eagle? Yeah.
It's good. I firmly recommend Red Dead 2.
I'm sure it's going to look amazing on PC.
If you've even seen just the trailer they put out,
it'd be cool. Yeah,
good graphics.
If you had a super wide monitor. Imagine the aspect ratio.
The real PC Master Race.
And the 2080 Ti, you need to run it.
Yeah.
There's about 12 people that can afford the
that kind of buy a PS4 and an Xbox One X for the price of a 2080 Ti.
12 people, and all those are the executives at Rockstar Games, isn't it? So that's happening. Anyway, that was one fucking game. Jesus Christ. Planet Zoo is coming out on PC as well.
Yeah.
Which I'm really looking forward to. Now, this makes a lot more sense to me as a PC game. Got a lot of placing buildings. That's what PC gaming was made for, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, this is a
managing
PC
stuff.
Game.
I'm really looking forward to a bit of Planet Zoo. That's coming on PC on the same day. Another sort of slightly strange one, actually. Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Coming on a Switch.
Yeah.
Now Mario and Sonic, wasn't it? Was it a Wii game?
Yeah.
Originally,
I think so.
wasn't there a Mario and Sonic?
They do on every Olympics.
Yeah.
Do they?
Yeah.
I can't remember where I first saw it, but
Since the London Games,
2012.
So that was Wii.
So it's been Wii.
So it would have been
Wii U.
Anything with motion controls, basically.
Yeah.
You can probably play it on the Kinect, for all I know.
So that's pretty cool. That's happening.
Makes sense on the Joy-Cons as well.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm looking forward to as well, kind of, I think. It's because I haven't played one since the very, very first one. Layton's Mystery Journey. And it's got about another 20 words in the title.
Professor Layton.
I'm not going to say them. I loved the first Professor Layton on DS, was it?
Made by Level 5.
Yeah.
Who I adore.
Really, really nice game. A hell of a nice game, that.
Watch.
I could properly do with a Professor Layton port to the Switch, but there's a...
They've put them on mobile now as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. What's this on?
Switch.
But
this is a new one, yeah. Layton's Mystery Journey, something Deluxe Edition.
They should make a collection, shouldn't they?
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
I remember this doing well when it came out. It was one of them like brain training.
Professor Layton's massive still, especially among more casual
that's what I mean. Like I think actually, Brain Training and Professor Layton was like a bundle or something like this. Yeah, it was like the perfect mum bundle. Do you know what I mean on a DS?
Yeah,
it's a game
my
for the mums,
grandma bought a DS to play Brain Training, and then she got into Professor Layton.
Professor Layton's well nice.
Oh man, I got it. See,
that's fun for all the family, isn't it? Professor
what
Layton.
is it?
You not played it?
No.
Oh, it's really nice. It's
like an Agatha Christie spin-off.
It is. It fully is. But then it's about the original one is all I can tell you about, really, because I haven't played any of this. But it's like a little village, and it's like visual puzzles and
a lot of story,
a lot of stories. But it's a nice sort of low stakes, like you say, Agatha Christie mystery.
Okay.
And then there's big tea is a big theme in it, mixing herbal teas and all this.
Oh, it's a drink.
It's very British.
Yeah. But Professor Layton, and he's got a little assistant. So I don't know anything about this new game, but I think I'm going to have a good look at it. If it gets good reviews, I think I'll pick it up.
It's probably like the 90th installment in the Professor Layton series by now.
But the original was an absolute beauty of a game. So that's out on the 8th, which is the Friday, and my birthday, which is also Death Stranding Day. Death Stranding is out on November the 8th on PS4.
I can't wait for next week's podcast, and I'm in it. And I can't wait just because I can't wait to hear what people have got to say.
Yeah, I can't wait
Your
either.
opinions, can't wait for what I'm going to think.
So we've heard what the reviewers have to say.
Yeah, can't wait to see the comment section.
Yeah.
I'm fucking buzzing. I'm more excited to hear what people have got to say about it and what I'm going to feel about it than playing the fucking game.
Yep.
Because it is just funny. to see how many people have got an opinion about Kojima. And it's like Kanye West. He is the Kanye West of fucking video game development. Some people think he's a messiah, some people think he's a prick. Everyone knows he's pretentious, and every time he does something, everyone talks about it.
Is Kanye West I don't know his music at all, right?
Okay.
But is he self-indulgent in his music?
Yeah. He samples his own voices and then uses them as backing tracks for it to sing over, innit?
That sounds alright to me. Fucking Beatles did that, didn't they? I'm sure.
Yeah, but he's better than the Beatles, isn't it? He's the greatest living rock star on planet Earth.
Right.
Remember? He's told you that.
This Death Stranding conversation's off to a fucking banging start.
It's seriously relevant. Kanye and Kojima have got a lot in common, and one thing that definitely is exciting is the discussion around it.
Yeah,
I'm not going to talk about the new Kanye album, which just came out, and it came out the same day as the Death Stranding reviews, actually. So that was a good day on Reddit for me. But I'll tell you this: I haven't read any of the reviews apart from Survivors, which is just the 3 out of 10 one, but I've watched all the video reviews.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what weirdly, we sort of mentioned Kotaku earlier. They're having a hard time with their, on the business side and stuff.
Corporate overlords.
God bless and good luck to everyone involved in that. But I read the Kotaku review. I can't even remember who read it, who wrote it, which is really bad of me.
I think it's Nathan Grayson, I think.
No, I don't think it was.
Okay. Well, they're irrelevant, aren't they? But go on, tell us.
But it was really fucking good. It was a really nice review. Yeah.
Kotaku reviews are actually quite good.
It was a very long read review, and I really enjoyed reading it.
Nah. Do you know what? Yeah, fair enough on a long read, because I sat through all fucking 900 fucking hours of Young Gage review and Skill Up's one, and they are fucking...
What to do that for?
Well, because I'll give you the real answer, right? It's a Friday, got the day off work. But my daughter wants to watch Mr. Tumble, doesn't she? Yeah, which is a British staple.
So far, this is a good excuse.
So I've given my daughter my phone, so I can't read, but I've got YouTube on the telly.
Yep.
So I put YouTube on, and then I'm thinking, I've got IGN's review, I'll watch it at 6 out of 10. That's interesting. Let me see what somebody who's not a publication's got to say. So I made the mistake of Skill Up and Young Gaze, who... It's not a review, it's a Hideo Kojima's biography. It's like to really get a feel for the review. Like, I'm not going in on
but do you know,
I'm just letting you know, the video starts off talking about Kojima's fucking dietary requirements, his lifestyle choices.
Yeah.
Just talk about the game.
That is someone who is unsure what the tide of the opinion is going to be, and therefore were unwilling to give their own opinion.
Funnily enough, Did You Know Gaming did a biography on Kojima, and it was actually quite informative.
Well, no, I mean, don't get me wrong. This was informative. But I don't want to spend 25 minutes learning about what Kojima was
called
going through.
Death Stranding review, though?
Yeah, no, it was, but it starts off with like talking about like the classic Kojima's just left Konami. It's in a very specific part of his life, which is why Death Stranding is what it is. Look, just shut up. So I watched Games Radar instead. That was straight to the point.
Yeah, it was a good review, that, yeah.
Then I watched Giant Bomb. Then I watched... I watched all these reviews. But do you know what, yeah? None of them are really that straightforward.
IGN's I quite liked.
IGN's was really straightforward.
I quite liked
it. It was like a straight up 6.
Yeah.
Everyone else's is just a little bit like this. Well, normally in a game like this, it's a lot of that, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a lot of like... Normally, walking would be really, really boring. But the way that Kojima really pulls it together is the fact that you can trip over rocks and stuff like that is quite interesting, because the reviews that sounded like they hated it gave it an 8 out of 10. And the reviews that sounded like they really liked it were like, but it doesn't put it all together, 6. That's interesting.
Yeah, I think this is exactly what I thought was going to happen. And it was... Basically, once the trailers and the video started ramping up, the more we were seeing of it, and the more I saw Monster Energy drink cans, and the more cameos, the more fucking the late night TV hosts were appearing in it. I was like, this isn't going to be good, is it? But then I've got to say, I am more excited than ever to play the game.
Yeah.
Because I was definitely the most pessimistic out of the three of us.
Yeah, definitely.
Just generally speaking, with everything, but with Death Stranding, especially. But I've got to say, this always happens to me, and I've said this loads in the podcast. But when I don't care about stuff, but then the week that it's happening, and I know I'm going to be playing this on a Friday, that's when I really get excited for stuff, and that's when I'm properly on board with things. And the reviews for this have just been like best case scenario for me, because I fucking love it when, like you're saying, I love it when people are just like furiously angry at stuff, and they're like, "This is the shittest game I've ever played," and it's a disgrace.
You say the reviews are bad, but it's on like an 85 on Metacritic.
Yeah, but they are. But that's because there's loads of 10s, and there's loads. And that's exactly what I was expecting.
I do totally agree with you. It would have been. It's more interesting that the reviews are divisive on it, and if everyone was just giving it 10 out of 10 best game ever, or 1 out of 10 worst game ever, or just an 8.
Look, 8s is fucking
That's Outer Worlds.
And that was, to me,
Yeah.
But 5 10s,
a
2, a 3, and a 6.
It does make
cooking.
It's best case scenario.
It makes for a much more interesting conversation about the game.
Absolutely, and a much more interesting experience as well. Because if you think about what your traditional 10 out of 10 video game is, it's Uncharted 4, innit? It's like you know what is going to happen. You know it's going to be solid. You know it's going to be well acted. You know it's going to have good writing, solid mechanics, and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. But this is a guy who's just had total free reign, who happens to be good friends with Matt Mikkelsen and Norman Reedus, and is just
and he's trying to create a new genre.
And but thinks himself an auteur, and
Sony literally just gave him a blank check and said, "Go hog wild."
And he's got and as mentioned earlier in the podcast, has got one of as far as I'm concerned, the best environment engine in the Decima engine that you could have. The game looks like fucking it looks like you're looking at a cinematic when you're looking at the landscape. The characters are like
Sigur Rós album cover, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Remember when they released that one still of the game, and it was like a photorealistic landscape of moss? Yeah.
But the Digital Foundry video is amazing because they get so excited about the pebbles, but I know exactly what they mean. You look at the pebbles.
Can you remember? I don't know if people will, but we certainly do. Kojima was on a tour. You know what Kojima's like. You guys have seen him on Twitter, right? If he's not posting pictures of pork cutlet sandwiches or pictures of him with C-list celebrities, or he is taking pictures of his travels, and he travels a lot. And when it came to this, he was on a big tour going around all these different studios. Basically shopping for an engine.
People were basically auditioning their game engines
He went to see Rockstar. He went to see the fucking lads that did Horizon Zero Dawn, who ultimately won. CD Projekt Red he visited at the time.
I think Naughty Dog he visited as well.
Exactly.
But the God of War studio he visited.
But
and he chose Horizon Zero
Dawn. But I think that what the Guerrilla, I'm very ignorant about it. I don't know if Guerrilla Games developed the engine themselves or whatever.
I think they did.
It was
first used in Killzone Shadowfall.
Right.
It was like their big. This is our next gen engine.
And Horizon Zero Dawn, whatever your opinions of it, it looks and feels when you're in it when you hear the phrase next gen. That's what you're sort of. It feels sort of intangibly polished and shiny and looks amazing and
really
it feels good to be in that environment, and then so that has carried over so well in what I can see of the Death Stranding stuff, and it just looks like such a. I'm happy to be walking through all this stuff. And
looks a bit like Scotland.
Do you know
it's strange, isn't it? It's strange to try and pin down where it's meant to be because it's America. Isn't it?
The world's meant to be fractured in the game, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's the America and United States are such a big theme, isn't it?
Yeah.
But where
it looks like Scotland,
the United Cities of America, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's it. So the thing about it that seems interesting to me is it looks good. Yeah, it sounds good. Yeah, the story's good. Do you know what looks good, sounds good, and the story's good? A film, right? And do you know what else has got Mads Mikkelsen in? Films. Nicholas Winding Refn. Films. He's
got an obsession with wanting star power. He's always wanted.
It's like he's a movie star that wants to. He's on about joining things and bringing things together. And I think the one thing he is trying to desperately do, and I say desperately, and I mean desperately, is get the respect of filmmakers and looking at the medium of video games.
Yeah.
And I think that this is some sort of weird half and half bit.
Yeah.
Just from the reviews, just from the meta of seeing him at film festivals, pally with film actors, directors, and the fact that he's so into films.
Yeah.
I think he's really just trying to...
If you follow him on Twitter, he's always tweeting about what he's just been to the cinema to see.
So I think this act of legitimacy for video games is going to come through the form of trying to make it like a movie. And that's going to be interesting because it's one thing that Western games are criticised for by Eastern developers is that all of our games are like fucking
too
cinematic, where you should make it a video game instead.
Gameplay comes first, yeah.
Exactly. So the fact that this is an Eastern developer doing a very Western thing with a lot of Western people is interesting.
Well, you know, common criticism of Metal Gear Solid 4 was people say it's more movie than a game.
And
I've seen a few references to Metal Gear Solid 4, which are quite distressing to me as well. Like there's a lot.
That makes it even better, you know.
Yeah, I know you're a big fan, aren't you?
Yeah. It's love Metal Gear 4.
There's a lot of. I've seen a few people say it's like Metal Gear Solid 4 levels of complexity, exposition.
Will it break the record for longest single cutscene, which Metal Gear Solid 4 still has at 27 minutes?
It's definitely going to have a longer than 27 minutes. Some of the reviews I've seen, because I've seen quite a few now, that some of them outright talk about the ending as well, which is probably not good.
Yeah, I've been trying to avoid the reviews. I've seen the scores, I've seen the Metacritic score. Other than that, I'm trying to go in cold turkey.
Get on that Digital Foundry video, mate. You'll love it. It's 20 minutes of people talking about pebbles.
You told me about the subsurface scattering.
Yeah, yeah. It won't spoil anything, but you'll get a good look at the nondescript parts of the world.
Well, I mean, I'm sold on it anyway. As soon as Kojima said, I'm making a game, I was like, cool.
Yeah.
The only game I wasn't fond of Kojima's was Metal Gear Solid 5. But the rest of his games, top notch.
And that's his last game as well. So it's like,
Yeah.
But if Liam hates it, this is going to be a very pinnacle moment I'm glad to be a part of, but at the same time, sad for him. But if you like it, that's going to blow my mind. And that's what I'm excited about. But you remember we were on about earlier from Blake's email about games being mute after the fucking talk's over. This is one of them, isn't it?
Do you think?
I'm more excited to hear what you've got to say about playing the game. I'm more excited about the reviews than I am about getting the game in my hands on launch day.
There's so many games where that happens. I think where it's decided beforehand that it's going to be a classic. So it's decided beforehand that it's going to be a big talking point.
This is it. This is the big talking point, right, for the year, right? No one's going to be talking about Pokemon the same way. Maybe on Reset Era, but not everywhere else. It's like
I'll do my part.
Keep fighting the good fight, man. This is probably the last big talking point of the year, big time.
Yeah,
and I'm really, really excited to see what people have got to say about it. You know, everybody, like, our comment section is going to be rife with arguments, and it's never normally, but I reckon it'll be full of it. And I'm ready, and I'm excited.
I'm really excited for that new Star Wars game.
Oh, Fallen Order.
Yeah.
Fucking well excited.
It looks good. I'm into it.
Okay,
and the people who are making it exactly because
most people have, sadly.
That's the point. This behemoth is happening, and it's just dominated the conversation. Yeah. And I think this Star I can't remember what it's fucking called.
Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah, Fallen Order.
Right, and that's happening a week after Death Stranding. And it's probably the exact worst kind of game that you could bring out this close to Death Stranding. It's a single-player focused,
made for consoles,
made for sci-fi nerds, right? And it's just like
Souls-like combat.
It's, I mean, and it's coming out at the wrong time, I think. But I can't tell. I'm really excited for that game.
Well, they had to get another Star Wars game out for the movie, don't they?
Yeah, but to be honest, there's fucking no Star Wars games, are there? Do you know what I mean? There's about 2 of them in the last 20 years or something.
I am looking forward to the game, and I think it'll be a very exciting 6 hours. That's what I reckon.
I think
it'll be 6 hours long. Yeah,
I think it'll be 15.
I was literally going to say that. I think it's going to be the other way.
On about Metroidvania level design.
I think it's going to be a bit too long
compared to the 60 hours people have been saying it takes to get through Death Stranding.
Yeah.
How
long is Titanfall 2?
Tight. So
about 5, yeah. If you play on normal.
But it's an FPS.
Yeah.
Which is...
Yeah, it's hard to sustain an FPS for that long.
Especially when you've got that much going on.
They're shooting for God of War, I think. Like Liam said, Dark Souls combat, and they're shooting for, like, you know, that God of War.
They want you to do a lot of travelling and exploration.
Yeah.
In addition to the combat.
But it's Respawn, so of course there's a bit of wall running in there. But the point I was going to make is that Death Stranding is happening the week before, and it's a fucking 60-hour game. I've got a full-time job. I mean, I'm not going to get through the first 10 hours.
It'll be on eBay in a week, mate.
It is going to be an eBay in a week. That's why I told Laura was going to buy it for me on my birthday, which is on the day it's out. I told her not to because in case I want to just, save a bit of money, and it'll be 50 quid, and I'll shift it for about 45 for the week after. After I've walked through the tutorial.
Even if I hate it, I'm going to end up finishing it.
It's a piece of history. Yeah, Liam's going to finish it.
I'm bad for that. Even if I don't like a game, I have to finish it.
I'm pretty sure I'll stick with it though. It's just that I want to have the asset in my hand to shift.
Don't build your own hopes up in it. But I'll tell you what though, it'll be interesting. And even if you're not massive on PlayStation, or even if you're a PC, but it's coming to PC.
Yeah,
within a year.
Summer 2020.
Yeah, summer is it?
Yeah, summer 2020.
So
there's
like
no
literally
date,
6 months.
Yeah.
Also, that was exciting.
It's going to look.
They did say from the beginning. He said my next game's going to be PC, PS4.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, I've been going on about the Decima engine and that. It looks mint on a PS4. Imagine how it's going to look on a PC.
60 FPS.
It's going to look so good.
We'll
Look how
out.
smooth those walking animations are.
This time next
They'll
year.
probably have some extra lighting in it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Again, you'll need a 2080 Ti.
It'll be
to run
40 hours longer, and it'll be a director's cut as well. It'll be fucking massive.
40. You think it's going to be shorter after a Kojima director's
No, 40
cut?
hours longer.
Longer. Right.
40 hours on top of that 60 hours it
It's
takes
going
to
to cut
get through.
20 hours. Are you joking? Someone said, right, the final word I want to say on it, right?
Yeah.
Someone said in their review that they were like into it, I think is what they said. They were pretty into it. They were enjoying it. They were like, yeah, that's what it is. The story is what it is, but overall, it's whatever the experience. I understand what it's trying to tell me. Then the credits roll, and then there's like a massively indulgent extra chunk of game, which is just even more exposition that's trying to explain the lore and the universe and stuff. So I'm going into it excited now, more excited than I've ever been, and. That's all I've got to say now, and all that sort of stuff. I think it's because it's sci-fi. Because this is the other thing I mentioned, right? I was googling a little while ago while you guys were having a chat, right, to try and find out
in this podcast.
Yeah, to try and find out who Kojima's sort of art direction partner is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. What's
Exactly.
He's famous as fuck.
I know his last name is Shinkawa.
Yeah, it is Yoji Shinkawa, isn't it?
We got there, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't. Hideo Kojima is like Hideo Kojima.
They just did a 6-hour meet and greet in London, like literally last night.
Yeah.
And he is front and center just as much as Kojima.
And
he's responsible for all the visual design elements.
Right.
In Kojima
he's like
games.
Wes Anderson's cinematographer.
Yeah.
How about that?
Very nice. Okay.
It's true though, isn't it?
Yes.
True that.
But
just as important.
But this is the point. Kojima's an auteur. Kojima's a genius.
Well, it's caused a bit of a stink online this past month because Kojima keeps fucking doing this.
Yeah.
And
it was that tweet, wasn't it?
I edited it. I did this. I did that. And it's like, listen, a whole fucking sweatshop of people made your fucking game in like a year and a half.
But
you had 6 million fucking quid. Stop having a whinge and saying that you're the best, man.
I saw an article saying 70 people from Guerrilla worked on it as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
and they were just like the engine support team.
So 1 in 5 members of Kojima's people were Guerrilla, right? So it's interesting to know because it's Kojima this, Kojima that, Kojima this, Kojima that.
I do agree. People forget about the other people involved.
But I just wanted to say particularly this guy because Kojima's like bold vision is the thing a lot of the time, and how visually striking it is, and how character designs, and like the cranny flower thing, and the character that looks like Buckaroo, and like the mechanical design of all the armor, the floating BTs or whatever they're called in the game. All this stuff is like visual design, and that's really what makes it so striking and stuff. And it's not Kojima who's like there's an entirely different man who's doing it, and he never like even you both of you knew who he was, and we were like trying to get the name together, right? It's
because it's not bashed over my head every 5 seconds.
Yeah, directed, written, produced, and edited by Hideo Kojima.
It's living a dream.
If you look at the credits for a lot of Japanese games, they have a. There's a very specific thing, and seemingly only in Japanese games, of mechanical designer.
Yeah,
which is what Yoji Shinkawa is.
Yeah. But he's such a key ingredient. He's such an important part.
Oh,
the worst thing about the whole thing is Kojima's the one telling everybody he does everything. If it was fans drumming up Kojima, I'd get it, right?
Yeah.
Right, whatever. It's just fans. But the fact that it's Kojima saying, I made this from scratch.
Right.
I did this.
So what's the guy's name again?
Yoji Shinkawa.
Okay. So Death Stranding
by
Yoji Shinkawa is out next week on November the 8th.
We got 2 videos coming up this week, and the next podcast we'll be happy to tell you
all about Shinkaro's
full of fucking
Death Stranding.
We'll see you soon. Take it easy. Stay warm because it's getting pretty fucking chilly as well this week, isn't it?
Winter is on the way.
See you soon.
Bye.